certain budget lines. I must admit my dissatisfaction with you coming back from the budget committee with this, and additionally dissatisfied with an arbitrary cut of $500,000, which would bring the school department $500,000 below default at that point. And even less satisfied that you need a decision before Thursday.
I am feeling a little bit rushed and not really having any time to absorb any of this or to look at it.
You know, I explained that you know it would be difficult for us to deliberate, you know, in a meeting.
Week before Christmas.
I say in a meeting just because we don't have enough time for the administration to go back and
Well,
look.
I don't think it's fair to the administration, because we would need to consult with them to see which lines and if it's even feasible to make these cuts.
Yeah.
Sure. We all, each in this town, we all have our roles. I think we're all doing our roles that we need to. It certainly is helpful from our point getting direction from the budget committee on what they suggest we cut, and that would be that certainly was helpful on the 2 additional teachers and the reading language arts coordinator. If that was the only the cuts, I would not necessarily be in favor of that, because I firm believer that those increases of 242 for those 3 positions are beneficial. So I would certainly not inclined to do that. Then you get to the next step of $500,000, not having any guidelines on where to look. It's really I don't know, myopic, is that the word to use? No, I don't, maybe it's out of, not in the right context, but that's tough for me. So we went through the process. We made our cuts ourselves. What we need to do, I'm in favor of what we proposed, and if the budget committee has a different opinions, that's certainly their right. But that we would come down to the first hearing, and we defend what I believe is a prudent and sound budget based on past practices, not to mention the 13-cent reduction that our past budget had on the tax rate. So I think that's a good thing. Plus another article that talked about how Hooksett is achieving higher than state average on testing and having very low numbers cost per student. So it's tough. It's tough. So, but I'm firmly in favor of keeping this, and we'll see what happens when the voters make their decision.
Does anyone feel inclined to make a motion, or do we just want to?
Motion to keep the budget the way it is.
Second.
Oh, I'll make a motion to keep the budget as presented to the budget committee.
I'll say that louder. Second.
Further discussion?
Do you want me to reduce it with the snow plowing in the parking lot? Take those
Yes,
2 items
yes,
out?
yes, yes.
Okay.
Yes on that. Second on that.
I agree. I think it was a responsible budget, and I agree with Todd that I wish more collaboration would have happened at that Saturday meeting, and being forced a hand in less than a week to try to get this done, to come up with something. I need to go with this thought process.
I would be more inclined to agree with the motion if we hadn't reduced it again. Maybe I misunderstood. It sounded like you were reducing it an additional 145.
No, I'll clarify my motion. My motion was to go with the original budget that was presented, less the cost for parking and snow plowing. So reducing the initial 26,808 by cost for snow plowing.
45,000.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Even though that'll be more than what's already been taken out. Okay, I got you. I got you. All right. I just wanted to make sure you weren't adding another 140.
No.
Okay.
Then I have a question. So you're not saying, because they've already reduced it by taking the teachers out. So that's not what you're proposing now.
No.
Todd's proposing to reduce the budget by the amount of the snow plowing and the roof.
Okay.
So then what would our total budget be? I'm sorry.
For
I have
the
a lot
gen-
of numbers here.
For the general fund, it would be $26,663,550.
And that includes the teachers?
Yes.
That includes the teachers.
And that's what your motion is proposing.
Yes.
To keep the teachers and reduce it by the parking lot and the roof.
So although it was, or
No,
maybe.
paving in the roof, not the parking lot.
Right. So although, just for clarification, although it has been or may be already
Parking lot.
cut by the budget committee, I don't agree with the
242?
movement and adjusting the budget.
Okay. So only, for what we proposed, we only reducing it by 145. We're not
Correct.
cutting the 242 that was voted 8 to 2.
That's what Todd's motion was.
And that's, what my second is then, okay.
And I just said it wrong twice, I just want to say it correctly. For the paving, the plowing and the parking lot.
Yes.
I must screw it up the third time.
And I do have to
Okay.
say, I thought that, because, I mean, obviously on Saturday, they did show concerns about those 3 teachers. As much as I support the administration for those 3 teachers, if that's how they reduce the budget, I'm more inclined, but I was not willing to go any further on such tight notice. And I just wanted that clear.
Richard?
So I have a question. Our budget is 26,663,550. Our default budget is 26,534.
Yes.
So what budget goes on the warrant article to say what to the voters?
The budget committee's budget. And then there'll be the default budget.
The budget committee budget goes to the deliberative session. There's always opportunities to go either way at the deliberative session. And then that, whatever comes out of deliberative session, correct, would go on the ballot.
Right.
As the, the school district operating budget.
And whatever is voted on at that session, then there would be a notation in that saying recommended by budget committee or not, or recommended by school board or not. So there would be a difference. So if the budget committee, that budget figure is theirs, if they have $500,000 and we disagree with that, we could, our motion would be not to recommend if we get to that point, correct?
Does the budget they come up with comes
Yes.
back to
Okay,
us
it's
for us
correct.
to vote to approve it or not?
It's just for you to decide whether you're gonna recommend it or not, and it would just be a notation on the bottom of the warrant article. You can't change that number. Once the budget committee has decided on it, the board can't change the number.
But the deliberative session can change. the
Yes.
Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor of approving that motion to reduce the proposed school district budget by 145,
300, yes.
145,300. Signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Nay. 4 to 1. Okay. I'll come back with that decision on Thursday. At this time,
I have one other comment that I wanted to make as a budget committee member, and my own personal view of being at that meeting, and I hope it hasn't been misconstrued. I just want to tell you that there was 3-hour discussion about the economy and about the burden on taxpayers. And as hard as it is for you to sit here and say no to people that want things, it is for us too. The major concern that I had with the 3 positions, and I'll tell you, I'm the person that made that motion, was that it's a continuous cost. And that's one that will grow with time. and that was a concern for me in the current economy. The $500,000 proposal was really made as an offer, because we have been reminded it's the bottom line budget. And we've talked about this many times.
Just a point of order, I asked if you were speaking for the budget committee or,
Yeah, no, I'm speaking as a member of the budget committee.
but representing the budget
No.
committee. Then how can you
Giving
dictate
you my
that's what?
perspective of what happened at the meeting. And I am the person who made the motion to cut the teachers. And I was there and I heard the conversation regarding the $500,000 cut. And I just wanted to try to maybe mend any fences, because that was the impression that I heard here, that you've been forced into something in a week and so forth. And I'll
So,
tell you.
Mr. Pearl, not to interrupt, but I was at the meeting as well. And to mend fences, you don't use the words myopic and malicious.
Yeah,
Excuse me, this is my public input, and I would like to further say, I'm just giving my opinion, okay? I did not use those words, I'm giving you my opinion.
But you can't have it both ways, either you're talking for the budget committee or you're talking as an individual. You're representing the budget committee.
I can talk as a member of the budget committee, giving you my perspective of the meeting. Is
Sure,
there
go
anything
ahead.
that stops me from that?
Yeah, I mean,
Mr.
Mr. Pearl did state that he was a member of the budget committee, but he wasn't speaking for the budget committee. I've got to agree with him there, so
All
please
right.
continue.
I'll try to make this into a couple of minutes. I have no idea how much time I've used. The 2 points that I wanted to make was we had much discussion about it being a bottom line budget and who is best qualified to take money out if we feel money should come out. And that discussion, in my view, came back to someone like our superintendent, who is educated in this, does this for a living, rather than us taking lines out when we haven't had that kind of exposure to it. So I just wanted to make that point. And the second point was that the offer that we made, that the budget committee ended up making, in my opinion, was to try to get the input of the school board, rather than to move ahead and make any further cuts. So I'm disappointed if it was taken as some type of an ultimatum or something. I just want to reflect to you that the nature was not, in my opinion, in my point of view, not so much on what you proposed in the budget, but what's going on in the economy of Hooksett, the fact that revenues are going down again this year, the fact that this proposed a 62-cent tax increase on the tax rate. So I just want to share with you my perspective. This is not something that we were criticizing necessarily your budget, but the concerns of the burden on the taxpayers. Thank you.
Thank you.